Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. We're going to be doing something slightly different today. We're going to be having a look at a supposed UFO that appeared in the battlegrounds of Ukraine in the past week. Now this is an incredible story and I don't know whether I can take it seriously, so I really need your help and your opinions on exactly what to make of this. This was published on the 27th of February 2024 by the Daily Mail. Now they're not the most reputable news source, but they do provide us a video which supposedly comes from a drone operator in Ukraine who saw this object that we're about to view right now on the video. I'm going to play the video for us first, we're going to watch it at full speed, then we're going to read the articles and we're going to see what we think. Okay, so let's check this out.
Охренеть, ни хрена.
Что это за херня?
Это тарелка.
Ну, блядь.
По-любому.
А ну, приблизь еще.
На месте стоит, ты ж бачишь.
А на месте, блядь.
А в теплак ничего не светит?
So that's a very short, very quick video, and that was again released on the 27th of February 2024. And we're just going to read what the article attached. This is from the Daily Mail. Link will be in the description below if you want to come and read this for yourself. But it says, a disc-shaped, completely silent UFO was caught on camera by Ukrainian troops in the war-torn country, in footage shared exclusively with the Daily Mail. What the F is this? Why isn't it moving? The men with Ukraine's 406th Battalion can be heard debating as they witness the deadly calm UFO hovering over their war zone. While the size, altitude and shape of the object remain a mystery, the drone's own altitude indicates that the apparent object could be a large craft over 30 miles away. So this object could be up to 30 miles away, and we do actually get some more information in the follow-up article that we're going to view in a second, which tells us exactly how big they believe this to be. The footage was captured by the 406th Battalion this month via one of the over 300 heat vision quadcopter drones that are being used by the Ukrainian armed forces in their current war against Russia. We can see here an image of what one of these would look like. This is one of the drones that would have been flying out at the time. This is where we're getting the video footage from, and this here is a still of the object, which does look to be either cigar-shaped or possibly circular. Very difficult to tell. It's a low-quality image, and they're going to bring up that there is some kind of warning light up here as well on the image. And if we go back to the video itself, we can view it in slow motion and actually see what's going on. So I'll play this at half speed now. So he's asking why can't he fire missiles at us? They're wondering why the thing isn't shooting at them, and they're swearing holy whatever, holy F, holy F. What the F is this? And as you can see, they're moving backwards and forwards. They're asking why isn't it moving? And this guy says, I'm telling you it's a UFO for sure. And they're asking to zoom in more, and you can see the object here. So they're actually zooming in. They're not moving right now, they're zooming in and out using their lens on the drone itself. You can see the zoom in the left corner going back and forth. And we'll watch that one more time. So have a look at that. So this is half speed. Some kind of object floating above Donetsk. I'm really not sure what to make of this, so make sure you let me know down in the comments below what you think. We're going to read a little bit more, and we do have an interview with the drone operator himself. And then we're going to discuss what this possibly could be. So going back to the article, it says that the mysterious airborne object bears a striking resemblance to the Baghdad Phantom. So we'll have a look at that Baghdad Phantom right now, so that you can see that. And that's described as a skinny cylindrical object spotted above Iraq in May 2022 by infrared heat cameras on a US Air Force Reaper drone. So another drone capturing infrared heat. This is exactly the same. This is infrared. Now it says that Ukraine's 406 was gifted these DJI brand Mavic 3T thermal imaging drones via the fundraising efforts of the Deep Inspire Foundation. The battalion's quadcopter was soaring more than 500 feet above sea level when it spotted the UFO. At that altitude, the horizon visible via the drone's camera off in the distance would be approximately 30 miles, meaning the UFO could be at least that far away, or further, depending on its own height. And he does say the members used the zoom on their cameras to go from 2 to 4 times and back to see if they could zoom in and see more. On the 1st of March, they managed to get an interview with the person who actually produced this video. So we've got a little bit more information, and it says a dish-shaped object longer than the height of the Empire State Building. That's incredible. Emerged from the horizon of Ukraine's embattled Donetsk province last Friday, hovering eerily still a mile off the ground. So at this point they're actually saying it's 1,300 feet long, and it was over Donetsk. So we'll have a look at that on the map so you can just see exactly where that is. But 1,300 foot long. And in fact, if we go back to the first article, there is one thing I wanted to notice. This was the explanation they gave at the time. So you can see here, online UFO skeptics have supplied their own opinions, and they're suggesting it's the mirage phenomenon known as Fata Morgana. So this mirage, named after a sorceress from the legend of King Arthur, occurs when a higher altitude layer of warm air and a lower layer of cold air create an atmospheric duct that refracts or curves light, creating airborne aerial reflections. So we can see an image here below of an example of that Fata Morgana. This could just be an optical illusion of filming something on a body of water, one person suggested, even though it doesn't appear to be recorded over a body of water at all. Although it can appear over land, you can get a Fata Morgana. Over land, it just depends on the situation. This is an example here of one at sea, where the Anthem of the Seas cruise ship, 168,000 ton Royal Caribbean liner, looked like it was hovering above the water. So this is what they're trying to suggest it is, and this is what causes it: refraction bending light downwards towards the colder regions, and the ship appears to float because of this warmer air rising the mirage up, rising the phenomena to what would appear to be floating. But as one other person said, so these drone operators who fly these things every day and whose lives literally depend on knowing how to operate them are so stupid that they spend time wondering if a boat on the water is actually a UFO. So I suppose that is a good debunk, isn't it? Are these people who fly these things all the time, are they so stupid that they wouldn't know the difference between a mirage in the sky and some kind of real physical object? From the video, it appears that the infrared footage was in flat field correction mode, a software feature designed to improve image quality by correcting for errors as they build up during the camera's operation. And a spokesperson for the drone's manufacturer, Mavics, has actually told the Daily Mail that whilst it could not help in explaining what the UFO was, it does think an equipment error could have played a role. So the manufacturers themselves are saying they think it's an equipment error, and they said, "We did notice that there's an error message in the footage that you shared." The spokesperson said it's in the red bar in the upper left corner, so that's what I pointed to before. The spokesperson is saying, look, there's an error on screen, there's clearly an issue here, no big deal. And the Daily Mail does point out that it seems to say manual control, suggesting that it's actually related to the drone being piloted manually rather than by GPS. Now this image is of Jeremy Corbell and fellow investigative journalist George Knapp. These are the guys that released the picture of the Baghdad Phantom that we talked about before in Iraq. These are the guys that released that image that was taken by the US Reaper drone. And the article then just goes on to talk about different events that have happened throughout the world, UFO, and some in Ukraine, including this video that we'll show. So this video is actually, from a few years ago, strange formations of light from the village of Novogradovka in southwest Ukraine's Odessa Oblast in November 2017. So we'll just have a quick look at that video. So yeah, this comes from 2017. Some very strange lights appearing in the sky. They seem to be in formation, but I've seen many suggestions that these have been flares in the past, but they don't appear to be dropping, although we will see a couple drop in a sec. So I'm sure people could say that these were in fact flares. But I'd love to know what your opinion on these things are. Is this Starlink? Is this some kind of human technology that we don't know about? Is it a normal light phenomena? What is it? Because we can clearly see these lights now, they're falling out of formation. One in the middle has dropped. Seems to make a triangle shape in the middle there. Whilst the three around are still moving. Two are moving around the right hand side. So we can see 6 lights at the moment on screen. and a 7th has actually dropped out. A 7th has dropped out there, but then it looks like one has disappeared, so we're back down to 6 now. Oh, and a 7th again. Look at that. Back down to 6. One's disappeared. And one is falling. We've still got 5 in the sky. So we'll come back to the article that has the interview with the drone operator, and it talks about this drone operator cautiously guiding his infrared quadcopter 500 feet for a reconnaissance mission, struggling against high winds, when he suddenly spotted this 1,300 foot long UFO. It was flat and it was standing motionless despite the winds. In an interview from the war zone, the soldier, who is with the Ukrainian Army's 406th Battalion, said he and his fellow servicemen had never seen anything like this before. Initially, I thought it was something new invented by the Russians, he added. But then I understood, no, it might be a UFO. The craft was 36 to 54 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than any other object this pilot has seen or that he's ever tracked in the war zone, which he says rules out atmospheric phenomena, balloons, and known enemy aircraft. So important, known enemy aircraft. Because like he said, he did think it was something new by the Russians. So is this something that is secretly owned by the Russians? Is it something possibly even owned by the Americans? Or is it someone else entirely? Or is it aliens? You let me know. Now this is the pilot holding one of the drones. Presumably this is the drone that caught the footage. And he says, we were very surprised. The soldier, whose first name is Vadim, recalled. But he says this surprise was not quite fear, because he and his fellow soldiers have had to learn to suppress those emotions in their effort to defend Ukraine. The drone had gotten about a few kilometers into its recon mission before he spotted this UFO. I looked to the right and saw this, Vadim said. After 30 seconds we decided to film it, so there was 30 seconds of footage we didn't get to see that they were seeing. All the emotions we had at that moment, they're in the video, you can hear it. And yeah, it just recites some of the questions they asked, like, why isn't it moving? Why can't he fire missiles at us? What do you mean? And aside from the object's unusual heat signature, it appeared to more readily withstand the strong wind. But Vadim told the Daily Mail that no other extreme weather could help explain the unusual sighting. There was very strong wind, it was flowing in the same direction as we were flying basically. But the UFO just stayed at the same place and the sky was clear. So no clouds, nothing. So that's very curious. I use this infrared heat vision filter very often and just got experience so I can differentiate how bright an object should be according to what temperature. Based on that experience, Vadim stated that the UFO was very hot, I'm guessing 20 to 30 degrees Celsius hotter than other objects, so that's quite a bit hotter. Vadim estimated that the roughly 400 meter long UFO, or 1,300 feet, was also about 100 meters tall, or 328 feet. And the UFO, it does give us a time. It was spotted around 9:02 p.m. local time on the date on February 23rd, 2024. So that's when this thing was floating above Donetsk. We're not sure what it is. Some people are saying it's Fata Morgana, it's a mirage. Some people are saying it's the aliens finally come to kill us all. Some are saying it's Russian or American technology, being tested in the battlefield, and we're just getting glimpses of that. So make sure you let me know down in the comments below and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments down below what you're thinking of this so far. He does talk about the Fata Morgana. He says we've seen very different things in the sky. We've never seen anything like this before. And he claims he's flown his Mavic 3T more than 10,000 times, so he knows what he's doing, is what he's trying to say. He knows what he's doing. And about the Fata Morgana, he says it wasn't a mirage, because in thermal vision, you can't see a mirage. You can see it only with your naked eye. That's what Vadim says. So supposedly the machine would not pick up this error, is what he's saying. And the flight safety guide of Skybury notes that often a Fata Morgana changes rapidly. The Mirage comprises several inverted and erect images that are stacked on top of one another. But according to Vadim, this object was in a stable form and it wasn't moving, and from the video we watched, it did seem to be that way. It didn't look like it was moving, but It was only 17 seconds, so we can't really make a decision based on that. But they do say that the UFO, whatever it was, wasted no time in leaving Donetsk. At another position, we had another drone and put it up about 3 minutes later, but they couldn't see the UFO at that moment, and when they returned to the same position later, it was not there. So a different drone couldn't see it after 3 minutes, and it didn't appear to be there later. And of course, it comes back to how the Mavic's manufacturer told it could have been an error and pointed to the red warning bar visible in the screen, and Vadim has a response for that. Vadim says it is a warning that we were flying without satellites on 100% manual controls, which is what the Daily Mail had said in the last article might be the explanation. So basically Vadim's saying it's due to issues with, the combat situation, because they take out the memory cards. He says we remove the memory cards from the drones when we're doing flights over enemy territories, because if they lose the drone, then the enemy could take the memory card out, and that could give them information on the positions or perhaps the movements of the troops, and they don't want that. So they have to remove their memory cards when they take them out to battle, and that's why it couldn't record this footage on the UFO itself, and they had to record it presumably on one of their phones, pointing it at the screen. And like we talked about before, it wasn't the first time for weird things to appear in the sky, and there was another one in April of 2023 when CCTV cameras captured strange flashing lights above Kiev, but no missiles or anything seemed to hit the ground. Video clips were posted on social media showing the sky over the Ukrainian capital suddenly illuminated by a bright light late on Wednesday, and in one clip, a flaming object appeared to be crashing to the ground. Kiev authorities said an unknown aerial object had fallen from the sky at around 10 p.m, forcing them to announce an air alert in Kiev and the surrounding regions. But after verification and clarification, the information regarding the possible use of enemy aircraft or an airstrike with missile weapons was not confirmed, they wrote on their Telegram messaging app. So that's led people to believe that the flash was caused by a US falling satellite, although that was ruled out by the US space agency NASA, and a spokesperson for Ukraine's Air Force suggested a meteorite may have entered Earth's atmosphere, so that's possibly all that was. Now, before we end the video, I thought I'd just bring our attention back to something very strange that happened back in 2020 when the UFO subreddit on Reddit was seemingly being censored by some bad actors. So some of the moderators had been apparently working for nefarious purposes and had taken it upon themselves to ban certain words such as Navy or Pentagon, and even Brazil, right after an incident had happened in Brazil, so that anything that was posted to do with the Navy, the Pentagon, Brazil, and many other things were actually automatically removed by the auto mod. So a lot of videos, a lot of posts never saw the light of day. It was a very, very strange circumstance, and it was brought to light by an even stranger person called Axolotl Payotl, who was the person who cried foul, who blew the whistle. They were one of the moderators on UFO, and they'd noticed this was going on. They called it out, and it caused this huge issue where basically the community became aware that the UFO subreddit was being censored by someone. Now, it is also worth noting that Axolotl Payotl themselves ended up being banned from Reddit, permanently suspended, and it turns out they were a moderator of loads of different subreddits, such as conspiracy subreddits, UFO subreddits, all kinds of stuff, very similar stuff. And they had control over who could post. And they were banning loads of people. Anyone that didn't support the same things as they did, they were just banning anyone. And they were posting their own sources all day, every day, and deleting them, pushing them to the top. So basically, whatever this person wanted you to see, you were seeing. So if at any point in the past you've used the conspiracy subreddit, UFO subreddit, stuff like that, Tartaria subreddit, you've probably come across one of these guys. And it's awful because they have such power, they have such control over who gets to post and what, and we have no idea who they are. Now this Axolotl Payotl, it actually turns out they've been using a Russian email address for the past 15 years, and they claim to be a Western woman in her over 60s. Lots of people suggesting that Axolotl Payotl themselves was a Russian asset, whilst the other mods were CIA assets. So you do have to ask yourself, is anyone online even legit anymore? Or have we just been left with moderators made up of all these various alphabet agencies that just want to convince you of whatever they want to convince you of? They just want to give you their narrative. They just want to funnel the information that they think's acceptable to you. They don't want you to see things. They don't want you to see whether it's the Navy, whether it's the Pentagon, whether it's what Russia's doing. They don't want you to see all that. They just want you to see what they want you to see. Anything that's going to cause outrage in your little communities, anything that's going to get you angry at your neighbor instead of angry at the system. So anyway, we've rattled on about that for long enough. So the big question is at the end, for anyone that's still here, the big question is, what is going on in Ukraine at the moment? Because the way I see it, we kind of have 4 options. And really you could break those 4 options into 2 categories. Basically, real or fake. Is this thing real? Is what we're seeing on this video a real object that was spotted by drone operators? Was this a real thing? Or was it fake? Now, if it was fake, we could break that down into 2 more options, which is it was purposely faked, as in it was purposely put out there for you and me to watch it, for us to discuss it. We're doing exactly what the bloody narrator wants us to do right now. Or is it just a mirage? Is it this Fata Morgana? Is it a phenomena that's going on here? Have these pilots just got it wrong? Are they spotting a boat in the sky and they're thinking, oh my god, the aliens are coming? Is that what's going on? Is it all just false and this is nothing? Is this a nothing burger? Or is it real? Now, if it's real, that's some bigger questions. We can again split that into 2 categories. If it's real, as far as the way I can see it, there's only 2 options. It's human or it's not. If it's human, then that's obvious, isn't it? They've got some kind of secret technology. They must be testing it out there, something like that. And they just don't want us to know, and in that case they're trying to say, oh, it's aliens, because they don't want us to know the kind of technology that they've got. Or it is actually aliens. Or I suppose there could be a 3rd option to that, which is both. Could both be aliens and humans, but either way, there's a lot to ask here. Is it fake, humans, or aliens? Because that's the 3 big ones, fake, humans, or aliens, and a mirage goes into fake. So what do you guys think? Because I'm really interested about your opinions on this. This video is quite cool, and I might do some more UFO stuff in the future. Probably won't touch it too much, but it is kind of cool to talk about. And it's cool to kind of see these videos because not a lot of the major news networks have picked up on this story. The Daily Mail are one of the only ones. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, check out the other videos, do all that stuff, I don't know. Catch you on the next episode.